as they get ready to roll off here and get ready to go racing. Again, if you're joining us live here on Fans Choice, we're excited to have you this evening for some K&N action. But don't forget, this will also air on NBCSN on Halloween. So get a little bit of racing action in on your Thursday evening before you go trick-or-treating. It'll air 6 p.m. Eastern time on NBCSN. Again, the K&N West race here at Kern County Raceway Park. So get a little bit of racing in, get a little action before you go and fill those candy buckets up. Are you going trick-or-treating? I feel like you're a trick-or-treater.
I haven't decided yet. I'm usually a guy that plans that the day before at least.
Right.
I'm a last-minute costume designer. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. I mean, I'm sure you got a costume already, correct?
Well, you see, I have a puppy now, so I'm all worried about the puppy costume of what's going to go on there. So I'm lame now for it. I don't go out trick-or-treating. I'm scared to get turned down at the doors.
Well, as they are making their pace laps around, warming the tires up as we are still moments away from getting green flag underway. The race will be running 2 segments with the break around or at the conclusion of lap 75. With 15 cars in this race and race number 13 in the K&N West schedule as the semifinal race before the championship event that will take place at ISM Raceway in Phoenix. So 150 laps, 75 miles before we get this event underway, making the way through 3 and 4.
And that's a great shot right there. You can see those race cars actually decline with the banking. So the banking is still there, but they actually go downhill onto the front stretch as they are getting the 1 to go. Going to see these drivers clean those motors out, scrub those tires, and hopefully get a clean start here.
12 to 14 degree banking in the turns, 8 degrees on the straights. Kraus on the inside, Huddleston on the outside. So Toyota versus Ford are here on the front row as they come down here for the final time down on the back.
Haley Deegan there in that 3rd spot. Quick rundown again. Brittany Zamora rolls off 4th, Jagger Jones in 5th, Brad Casau in 6th, Jack Wood 7th, and Todd Sousa in that points chase 8th. Travis Milburn 9th, Dylan Garner in 10th, Zach Telford coming from the back in 11th, Takuma Koga in 12th, and Taylor Canfield rounds out your field as they take the green flag in the 2nd to last race of the K&N West here at Kern County in Bakersfield.
Kraus here on a nice start, pulls away to a 3-car length lead, and he'll lead the opening lap as they make their way through 1 and 2. Some near contact there with Zamora's. Jones makes some contact there going into turn number 1. Down the back stretch they go.
A constant battle between the Bill Mcanally Racing cars and the Sunrise Ford team. Both teams been dominant when it comes to wins and finishes this season, and Zamora with a very successful late model season. It's taken a little bit longer to pick up on the K&N cars. This is her rookie season, running full time for Bill Mcanally Racing, and she's really picked up some strides the last couple races, looking to finish the season strong. But we take a little bit farther back here. Driving for Jefferson Pitts Racing, Brad Casau there out of Wisconsin. Cool to see Jefferson Pitts bring a car to the racetrack for the 2nd race of the season. We haven't seen them as consistently here in the K&N Pro Series West. They've fielded drivers like Noah Gregson, who's now in the NASCAR Xfinity Series for Junior Motorsports. Grayson Raz has driven for them. Will Rogers, they actually collected that win in Sonoma with Noah earlier in the season. So great to see them back out here and racing at Kern, fielding a car. We love having them in the series. The Jefferson brothers, a big part of West Coast racing. As we continue green, 5 laps in. And we have single filed out, kind of what we expected to see early on in this race.
And we saw Casso going side by side there with the 78 of Jack Wood. Wood will win that battle. Now a look at here for the 2nd spot. Haley Deegan has her eyes set on Trevor Huddleston down through 1 and 2 here. Haley Deegan, a very solid season that she has had. She's going up against Huddleston for that championship in the 2nd spot, at least in the points, as Kraus starting to pull away now, as he has what we talked about in pre-race, what you could say is his favorite racetrack. Really smooth all the way around this facility, really extending his lead now to almost a second over Huddleston. Hailie Deegan kind of taking her time there behind Huddleston there into that second spot, sporting that black and green Monster Energy Toyota, running for Bill Mcanally Racing.
And Derek Kraus wasting no time here, putting that gap between him and the other two battling for second and third. And Kern, with this newer surface, is actually not as abrasive on tires as you would think. That allows these drivers to really drop the hammer and never really lift it. And getting this break at lap 75, these teams will get 2 tires. So they've got the 4 from qualifying, and they'll get 2 at that halfway segment. You assume they'll put those right sides on. So that allows someone like Derek Kraus to really just be consistently on the throttle. He doesn't have to wait. It is a nice racetrack on your left side tires, minimal wear on it. So that allows these drivers to be hard all the time, hard racing. And Hailie making some serious ground on Trevor Huddleston there. Rolls those corners really well. You can see how much harder she drives it in and through the center. She makes up her ground right there, but Huddleston with a great drive off.
As this race progresses, do you see some of these drivers now more move up higher in the corner? We know right now the preferred lane is on the bottom, but do you see them as the race moves on, possibly move up a little bit toward the middle of the corner on the turn?
If these race cars get tight for these drivers, they're obviously going to have to adapt to the racing surface. And I think you will see them move up as their cars continue to get a little bit tighter. They'll move up that racing surface. But if you can see there, you see in that shot perfectly, look at the groove. Look at where it's rubbered in. It's a very select groove that these drivers run week in and week out. They maybe will move up one groove, and if you're passing, maybe try that third groove. But that's one of the things that's tough here about Kern County Raceway is they've had to take these years and these continual races to work in this outer groove, and it's finally getting there. But unless someone makes that risk, it's tough to pass here because that passing groove doesn't come in till later in the race.
See Jack Wood making his way to pit road, and a battle on the racetrack now with Jones and Zamora. Jones now is starting to close the margin now with Zamora's trying to reach the back of that orange Toyota for Bill Mcanally Racing. Really starting to arc his corner a little bit more to get a nice run through the center, and he's been starting to close the gap little by little there, every lap that's ticked by, but still Cross has still extended his lead about just over a second over Huddleston. As those two are still going through it all the way through 3 and 4. Take a look at Jack Wood as they're going to take a look under the hood on that machine.
Not what any driver wants to see early on in this race. Hopefully that team can get that problem assessed and get it back out on pit road or back out on the racetrack. But Kraus again just dominant so far early on. The best place to be is out front, and he's proven that right now. So far clean and green, everyone pretty much single file. The only racing action really happening between Jones tracking down Zamora and Huddleston and Deegan, but they've gotten all spread out throughout the racetrack. A caution would group them back up here, but again, no one's really pushing anything real hard. It's difficult to pass at this racetrack.
Definitely a hard racetrack to get around, and more of the K&N West schedule here, a bigger track than what they're usually accustomed to, especially going to a bigger track next week at ISM Raceway. As you see now a battle as Jagger Jones has now reached the back end of Brittany Zamora, is closing the margin once again. Now was about 5 car lengths a couple laps ago, now a half a car length as they make their way down the front straightaway.
Jagger Jones coming off of that win at All-American Speedway in Roseville. Third generation driver as well. His grandpa Parnelli Jones, IndyCar racer, champion, all around.
Yeah, 1963 Indy champion. Yeah,
all around a well-known man in racing as a whole. So he comes from a good stock of racing. He's had his fair share of diverse racing. So to make that transition over to late models and then up to the K&N series, it was only a matter of time. It runs in his blood as far as being successful behind the wheel of a race car. So still young, still a lot of time to learn, but he's picked up on it very quickly thus far, having only 13 races under his belt as of tonight.
Brittany Zamora also had a very solid season. They actually had Kevin Bellacourt come over from GMS Racing to take over being her crew chief for this season, and he's really brought a lot to the table here at Bill Mcanally Racing. And Brittany's really almost, I guess you say, flew under the wing of Hailie Deegan, but Brittany's also had a solid season herself.
Yes, she has. Brittany has doubled up in her season when she's not running the K&N West car. She also races her Super Late Model up in the Northwest. She's a 2-time Northwest Super Late Model champion, and that's impressive. You're racing against legends up there in the Northwest, and so to be able to get that feat and then turn around and do it again the next year, it's been impressive to the point where Toyota has taken notice. She, as well as Haley, is part of the Toyota development program. They were actually at the ESPNW Summit over the weekend as part of Toyota's initiative, showing what they've done with incorporating women into motorsports. But take a look there. That was actually a really good shot. You saw you saw Brittany Zamora's right front brakes glowing. You can see it there again. Jagger Jones has no heat in his brakes, so Zamora hard on those brakes, and a tough break there. You see them trying to split the lap traffic there.
Kogut there on the bottom, she'll makes his way, but that's going to allow Jones to almost have a nice run to the middle of the corner now. If they get around one more lapper here, as they're finally going to make their way around Josh Jackson, and they will do that off of 4. Here he comes back again to the inside. Jones takes a peek. Now they're side by side. Those two made contact on near the first lap. Jones slides on the bottom. Now fall back in line behind the Zamora machine.
A little bit of a hip check there that just didn't play out for Jones as he slides back in behind Zamora. Zamora, with that preferred groove, was able to pick up that grip and regain that spot, but you have to wonder if her crew chief is on the radio telling her to maintain those brakes. It's only lap 27 of 150, and those front brake rotors are glowing. So she's going to have to maintain those brakes. She's been able to put a little bit of distance, about 2 car lengths there, between her and Jones. And maybe both of their crew chiefs are telling them, guys, it's early on. We've got a long race ahead of us. Take care of your equipment, because you need to be there when it ends, especially with Jones being in that points chase.
Now with a racetrack they're coming to, it's much bigger. It's more spread out with this field. Now, how challenging is it for a young driver like Brittany Zamora to know that, hey, I got to take care of my stuff even though my rotors are glowing? How challenging is that for a young driver like that, being in her rookie season, coming to a big facility like this and knowing to take care of a race car, knowing the only real guarantee of a caution is on lap 75 for the stage break?
Well, Brittany, in comparison to some of the other drivers that do come up through the K&N series, has a pretty extensive late model resume. She's run big and long races like the Montana 200, the Summer Showdown, which is 150 laps at Evergreen Speedway, a 5/8 mile. So Brittany, coming into this, has had a lot of experience underneath her belt with long races, having to take care of equipment in big fields. So she's probably one of the more experienced ones, even though she's younger in age, when it comes to that. But you get some of these drivers like Jagger Jones, for example. While he has an extensive late model resume, his races have always been shorter, 50 laps, 75 lap features. So to come to these consistent 150 lap races, that's been something that he's had to learn over the period of his K&N series. And fortunately, a lot of these drivers have really good crew chiefs underneath them. You know, they've got Bill Sedgwick over at Sunrise Ford, who's crew chiefed a lot of drivers to championships. He's been a essential part of teaching these young drivers, not only on the racetrack, but off the racetrack skills. And you can see there, Jagger Jones really making some ground once again on Zamora, as he's already back to the back bumper over, looking to challenge. But again, if Brittany can hold the bottom line there, that's the preferred groove, and she slipped up a little bit there and allowed him to get side by side.
Jones now to the inside. He'll take a look and power his way to the inside. He will finally clear Zamora. And what I was going to briefly mention now, how difficult is that for a driver being Jagger Jones, knowing that he's faster than her? He's 17 years old, but still has a very impressive resume, especially at this facility, knowing that it's a long race now. You need to get around her, but you got to take care of your stuff at the same time, and he finally does get around her.
Yeah, he played that out absolutely perfectly. He didn't push it too much. He didn't wear out his own equipment. He waited for her to slip up that one lap, was there to take advantage of that slip up, get up underneath her, and clear her, and it shows he's obviously faster than he's put some distance. But back up front of the leader here, Derek Kraus, already bobbing and weaving through some lap traffic there as he puts Travis Milburn there from Eagle, Idaho, a lap down. He's put some serious distance between himself. You can see about 3 cars back via lap traffic is Huddleston there in the second position. Looks like Huddleston has cleared Haley there for that second position, but Derek has just been clean and green, absolutely no pressure thus far, and that is a great feeling to have as a driver, sitting atop the championship point standings right now, continuing your lead with not a pressure in sight.
Exactly, especially like we talk about the big lead that he has right now, more of also taking care of your equipment now, at least until that next caution or the stage break comes out, is he makes his way back down the straightaway, down to turn number 3, and see Hailie Deegan now has a chance to get her turn around some lap vehicles. And up the racetrack now. Some sparks coming out of Trevor Huddleston, and now the caution flag will fly. It looks like as if a right front may have went down on that machine all the way through 3 and 4, and the first caution flag will fly.
That was your second place runner there of Trevor Huddleston, so clearly carrying some speed, and good on him. He was able to get that car slowed. It didn't make any contact with the wall. We did see some sparks there, and it does look like that right front sitting a little bit low, but impressive save by him. Glad he's able to save his equipment essentially, because blowing a right front at Kern County Raceway Park is not an enjoyable experience.
As he now has his vehicle stopped there on the top, he'll get it refired for the first caution flag, and you can see it right there riding right on the wheel as the right front has gone down on that Ford. So he'll make his way back around. Derek Kraus had the lead. Hailie Deegan was running in the 3rd spot. It was about a second behind, running behind Huddleston. Now Huddleston having some smoke coming out of that machine, and the worst part was he just passed the start of pit road, so he's going to have to nurse that vehicle all the way back around this half-mile racetrack.
And as anyone knows, while he's able to drive that back to pit road, that is tough on equipment right there. He's got that wheel completely rolled off of the tire rim there, and that is tough on your suspension. Even if this team is able to get a new right front on there, at the end of the day, that's just not something you want to put these race cars through. As you can see, that right front is completely just down.
As we mentioned, Huddleston and multiple drivers like Hailie Deegan and Jagger Jones all competing for that 2nd spot in the championship, and this will definitely take a hit to Huddleston now trying to hold on to that 2nd spot. Also, fans, don't forget, coming up on October night before we take the kids trick-or-treating, be sure to take them out here to watch NBCSN's coverage on October night at 6 p.m. Eastern. A nice little treat having some K&N West racing before we head on out, so be sure to check onto that for a tune-in alert as Huddleston makes his way down to pit road. Checking out that right front as Cruz will go on.
Having a hard time getting that jack underneath that right side with that tire being down. There we go. Finally able to get that underneath there. Start to get that car jacked up and get that right front replaced. Yeah, not a sight you want to see. Tire completely rolled off the rim there. But again, you want to give props to the driver of Trevor Huddleston. Blowing a right front, and especially at a racetrack like Kern County where you're carrying so much speed and downforce into the corner, able to keep it off the wall. I mean, essentially he did not damage that race car with the exception of getting it back to pit road and getting that right front changed. So hats off to that driver and those capabilities. How quickly that team was also able to put that right front on there and get him back out there to contend.
So Hailie Deegan now will move up to the 2nd spot as they now get the 1-to-go signal. And we'll be going green flag racing next time by, as now you see Huddleston back on the racetrack. He'll have to start at the rear of the field after bringing out that first caution. Hailie Deegan now will start on the outside. Kraus on the inside. Couple Bill Mcanally drivers making up the front row here.
Couple drivers looking to make their way a little bit further and take advantage of this caution as well as they get ready to go green. Kraus looking to execute another solid start as he did. He was able to pretty much clear the field by the start-finish line and tuck back up at Hailie Deegan, ready to execute on this green flag restart. The first one we've seen thus far in the race as the field takes the green flag, and a great restart once again by Derek Kraus. Again, clears the field going into turn 1, and that allows the battle to shape up behind him with Jagger Jones and Hailie. Now these two have history. You have to watch with this contact here. They made history the first couple laps at All-American in the previous race. Jagger actually making contact with Hailie, taking her out of contention early on in the race. Yep. And Hailie made comment after the race saying, I'm going to race you like you've raced me the entire race, and it's probably not going to end well for the two of them. So these two known to make heavy contact, and not something you want to be doing right now, especially early on in the race, but these two have a history.
Hailie Deegan actually made the outside work, and she'll run right around the middle, and she will clear the Jagger Jones machine. Now has her eyes set on Derek Kraus, but Kraus, as those two went at it, Kraus had extended his lead now to 5 car lengths down the back, straightaway to 3 and 4. Deegan now working as she did almost in the first part of that race, more moving up, not wrapping that white line, more moving up almost half a lane higher, as she will do the same here in 1 and 2. As see another couple Mcanally drivers there as Gardner and Zamora are battling there for that 4th spot.
Great rebound by Garner there. Didn't get the qualifying that he wanted. He rolled off 10th there and able to work his way up into the top 5 there. You also see that Jefferson Pitts driver battling out with Todd Sousa. Todd Sousa's actually had a pretty phenomenal season himself. Best one thus far in his career, currently in 5th in the point standing, and that's the best since 2006. He's been a consistent in the K&N Pro Series since 2006, and with 4 top 5s and 8 top 10s this far, actually finishing 2nd at Meridian. So pretty cool to see him up there battling early on there to get up there. He's up in the points battle within the top 5, so he's looking to make a couple positions, take advantage of Trevor Huddleston's bad luck this evening.
And you see there, right there, Gardner got a little loose there in 3 and 4 and lost a little momentum to the back of Zamora. And back again for that 2nd spot. Haley Deegan extending her margin there on Jagger Jones down through 3 and 4. Haley Deegan already with 2 wins this season. 3 career wins overall here in the NASCAR K&N West Series. Both her wins this year coming at the Las Vegas Dirt Track in Colorado.
A lot of talk about what the future holds for young Haley Deegan, 18 years of age, and so she has just now reached that age gap where she is able to compete in the NASCAR Gander Outdoor Truck Series. We saw her make a start at Kansas for the ARCA finale just a few weeks back, and a lot of talk about where she'll end up next year and what the future holds. And something smart about her is she's in no hurry. She knows she's got a long future here in NASCAR, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see her make a couple Gander Outdoor Truck Series starts next year, but probably primarily focus on an ARCA schedule, get the seat time that she can at short tracks as well as expanding her big track. But I want to take a focus here to that number 17 of Zach Telford. We talk about the young up-and-coming drivers consistently through this series. 15 years old and winning super late models, running 2nd at his Meridian in his debut, and was taken out in the last couple laps there. He's someone to keep an eye on as we get ready to go racing in the 2020 season.
And again, oh, trouble on the outside. Jagger Jones now.
Rolling to a stop there. You have to wonder what happened there. Trouble for both those Sunrise Ford. Able to refire, though.
And the caution will come out again for the 2nd time. And big trouble now for a teammate of Huddleston. Now it's Jagger Jones. And you have to wonder if he had a right front go down, and it looks like he has. Another right front has gone down, only laps separating those 2 machines. So now he'll make his way down pit road for the 2nd caution of the day. This will happen on lap 56.
You have to wonder if there's if there's debris that these 2 have hit, or if something on those Sunrise Ford cars is
mechanical inside,
causing them to cut those right front tires. I mean, it's really early on in this race to be cutting tires. We've seen how hard Derek Kraus has been pushing his car, and so for him not to have similar circumstances or similar things happening to his race car, interesting to see what's been happening with Jagger Jones and Trevor Huddleston. But Haley Deegan has got to be thanking her lucky stars right now. She walked into this with just a few points spreading there between her and Jagger Jones and Trevor Huddleston's for that 2nd through 3rd and 4th point standings. And this puts her in a pretty good position to really capitalize on tonight's event.
And this will now put the top 4 spots to Bill Mcanally race cars with Derek Cross leading that pack there as the 2nd caution has come out. And as we talked about, she can be a little more aggressive, but luckily for Jagger Jones, he was able to beat the pace car and didn't have to take the long lap around to really hurt his equipment. He was able to get down pit road pretty quick, especially with that car having the right front go down in turn number 2, and was able to nurse that back around to pit road, beating the pace car out just in time.
Pretty amazing also to see Haley Deegan currently running 2nd and Brittany Zamora in 3rd. You know, 2 girls of the podium as of right now. We saw it happen in 2016 at Meridian Speedway with Nicole Behar and Julia Landauer, both on the podium at Meridian Speedway. And that was pretty neat. That was definitely a pivotal point in the developmental series of NASCAR to have 2 females on the podium, and both of these women have decided that they are here to stay in NASCAR. They've shown speed and that they belong here. Haley collecting wins and Brittany continually getting better. Been awesome to see. You can see Todd Sousa there, again, a consistent in the K&N Pro Series. 5th in points at the moment.
So a little bit of a extended caution here from Kern County, but now Haley Deegan doesn't have to worry there about Jagger Jones or Trevor Huddleston right there, but still Brittany Zamora though. Still, she was pretty fast in practice, was 4th in practice, and now she finds herself in the 3rd spot. And on this restart, we saw last time Derek Krause working on the bottom lane, really pulled away from Haley Deegan as Haley Deegan was in a battle for the 2nd spot. Now Deegan will have an opportunity again to work from the outside with Krause, and we'll see if she puts a little more competition to that Napa Auto Parts Toyota.
Zach Telford getting the wave around will rejoin at the tail end of the field. On the lead lap there, you also saw Jagger Jones trying to make up that ground there to rejoin after getting that new right front. Again, lap 59 here at Kern County Raceway Park. Just a handful of laps away before we get to that halfway break. Takuma Koga slow there on the bottom will also rejoin at the tail end of the field here.
I believe he beat the pace car out, was supposed to start at the rear of the field as they make their way back around turns 3 and 4 and back into the restart zone. Green flag back in the air. And again, big restart for Krause. And Haley Deegan this time will have to worry about a battle for 2nd with Zamora. She'll get down to the bottom, and now Krause has a little more competition this time on this restart. The battle for 3rd is on, Zamora and Gardner. Garner trying to make that outside work. As some battles to the back of the field here with Jagger Jones. Again here for the 3rd spot. Zamora will slide up a little bit on that bottom and bobble. Garner trying to use that momentum for the top side to make it work.
And watch this line that he runs. He goes in and allows his race car to go all the way up the racetrack and carries the momentum with the downside banking of that turn 3 and 4 to be able to get a little bit of extra speed over Zamora there, because Zamora has the preferred line on the bottom here, but he's using his advantage, holding her down there and not allowing her to carry that full speed and momentum through the corner. But great drive by Zamora there as she continues to pressure Gardner on the outside, but Sousa's going to stick his nose here into the picture, and that's going to have to allow Zamora to slip up there and allow Garner to get that position.
Sousa has entered that battle, and Zamora now not giving up without a fight. She'll fight back on the inside as they are still side by side, hanging through 3 and 4. Garner sweeping up wide, getting a nice run off of 4, and still wheel to wheel, making their way down to turn number 1 as a good little battle here for the past couple laps here on lap 64, only about almost 10 laps away before we reach the stage break, but still Dylan Gardner fighting back on that outside. Zamora's there, but now you gotta see, where does Sousa go? Does he go low or does he go high as these two are actually starting to pull away a little bit from him?
All of Dylan Garner's late model laps are definitely paying his dividends right now. You can see he goes in there and almost runs that 3rd line and allows the banking to carry that extra momentum off the corner. Brittany though all the way to the bottom of the racetrack on the white line, helping that white line help her get that car rotated right in the center there. But these two putting on a great battle side by side for that 3rd spot.
I know these two maybe using up their tires a little bit, but the stage break is coming up in a little bit, so this allows them to race a little bit harder here. They know when they have the opportunity to bring some new Genoa tires down on pit road and get some new tires there, but they're still going side by side, still not getting away from each other. They really want that 3rd spot, making the way down to 3 and 4.
And while these two continue to battle, if you look just a few cars behind them, you can see them, the neon orange roofs of the Sunrise Ford cars. They are lurking, watching these two battle. Yeah. Yes, it didn't take them very long as the yellow flag is out here. Caution comes out on the racetrack.
I see John Wood now making his way on the bottom, some sparks flying from his race car. Looks like maybe some small right side damage, but some sparking on the left side. This time from a machine, it's for the first time though, it's on the left side, so a left front is down on his Chevrolet. Unfortunate for him, kind of like it was earlier for Huddleston. He'll have to make his way all the way back around the racetrack, tearing up some equipment a little bit. Not good on the equipment, but a left front has gone down, and we're seeing a lot of tire problems here in the first stage of this race.
Yeah, we are, and it's definitely interesting to see that you have John Wood's left front go down here, as well as, actually, clarification, I do believe that is Taylor Canfield in the 38. We saw a Twitter post earlier with that blue tape above the windshield, or above the driver's window there, with Taylor Canfield's name, and it said, Taylor Canfield and crew and hopes and dreams, P.S. mainly hope. So a little bit of humor out of that team right there, but unfortunate break on that right front. Interesting to see, though. We usually don't see tires blow that quickly. Looks like he maybe passed his pit stall there. There we go. Able to find his crew there and get that left front assessed. And you have to wonder with the Sunrise Ford cars, again, going back, if there's maybe some debris on the racetrack that these drivers have been able to find. But so far, it's been a great job by all three drivers being able to keep their equipment off of the wall.
So now the caution flag is flown again for the third time already, and every one of them so far has been a tire failure where it's gone down on the racetrack. So now Hailie Deegan will have another opportunity here just before the end of the stage break, and we'll actually see if they do say this is the stage break, because it is at least around the lap 75, so we'll see if they actually use this as a stage break, and if not, possibly we might have a 1 or 2 lap shootout here before the end of that break. As Kraus has led every single lap so far. Hailie Deegan still in the second spot. Zamora in third. Dylan Gardner in fifth. Todd Sousa in the 5th spot. That is your top 5. And Garner here pulling up alongside Zamora. Those two were still going at it there. Still trying to figure out who was ahead of who on the racetrack for there. As now you see Taylor Canfield making his way back onto the racetrack.
And we look forward to crowning a K&N Pro Series West champion at ISM Raceway in just a few weeks. Their feature event will follow the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday afternoon. And pretty interesting to have the Motor Racing Network crew on the call for that race. It'll be interesting and fun to have them. I know they're all looking forward to it, to get to crown a champion and be a part of NASCAR's grassroots racing. So that'll carry over. You can watch that again on fanschoice.tv as the Motor Racing Network crew talks you through and calls all the action as we crown a 2019 K&N Pro Series West champion. So,
and they're setting up now ISM Raceway crowning a champion this year, but next year they'll be crowning the NASCAR Grand National Series on all the champions being the trucks and the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series.
Yes, I love Phoenix. ISM Raceway is hands down one of my favorites. I had the opportunity to race there in a K&N car. Glad to see the series returning there. Glad to see the ARCA Series coming there as well in 2020. So green flag back underway. Kraus executing a great restart there. That is something he's been able to capitalize on all season long, something he took from 2018 and applied to this season, was those restarts, the shifting, getting that gear ratio down. And him and Kern, man, him and Bakersfield, they've just really clicked. He's shown speed here, and this is a racetrack that adapts to his driving style very well. Instantaneously within the first lap, puts a couple car lengths as the battle for 3rd through 5th continues.
And Zamora, last time those two went at it, Zamora was on the bottom and was racing side by side with Garner. You saw a piece of debris fly up there entering turn 3 as we're about a lap away. I had a smoker back there in the back of the field. Looked like Zach Telford had a little smoke out of that left side, as Zamora that time she'll actually use the top, won't waste any time there with her teammate of Gardner and get around that machine, as Derek Kraus starting to pull away a little bit from Hailie Deegan as we've reached lap 75. Here's Todd Sousa to the inside as he'll poke right back in line behind Gardner.
This is exactly what Brittany Zamora wants to see. She's now been able to change her focus from her rear windshield to her front windshield, as Gardner's now under attack from Sousa. And the caution lights will come on again on lap 76 of 150. This sets us up for our halfway break. So this will allow all of the teams to come down pit road and to the attention of their crews. Everyone will wait until they have stopped on pit road and they are given the okay. You can see that debris that we talked about earlier getting picked up by our lovely safety crew up there in the turn. But once everyone gets down pit road and stopped, the teams will be given the okay by NASCAR officials, and at that time the clock will start. Every team given the same amount of time, as well as 2 fresh tires that these teams are allowed to put on, some fuel to get them through the rest of the race, and any basic adjustments there.
So they go over and pick up the piece of debris and an opportunity to get some new tires. Now when you look at a driver like Hailie Deegan, it looks like really the one that, at least here in the first part of the race, that hasn't had any tire problems at least, to compete with Kraus. What more do you think that she could possibly use as far as like watching how he's done his restarts in the bottom? Because he's really pulled away instantly at the drop of the green, and I know he has the preferred line being on the bottom and she's on the top, but now what more do you think Hailie Deegan and this team can do on these restarts here going forward to really set up for the second half of the race?
I think Kraus right now is really just in a league of his own. They've hit on something. This is a track that he's been good at. That team has a great notebook. But if Hailie is going to capitalize on this, she's been unintentionally known as kind of a sleeper. She's got less laps around this place, less laps in a K&N car. So she learns as she goes. She's able to consistently take every single lap in and learn from it, and she's been able to show that by the end of a race she can apply that. So as these laps continue to tick down, she's like a sponge. She's absorbing everything. She's watching Kraus. She's learning how this top groove races and how to pass here. So her being that sponge, if it comes down to that Kraus maybe used up his equipment too much, doesn't have as much tire, Hailie will be there to capitalize on that moment because she is so quick to learn these cars, these tracks, people's techniques, and that's something that's really put her in the top caliber of this division and something that will keep her competitive at the next level of NASCAR. But right now, I honestly don't know if anyone has anything for Kraus. He's been so immediately dominant, able to execute on those restarts, and there you guys can see NASCAR giving the okay to these teams. Everyone taking right sides for the most part, so the clock will start and allow these teams to get these adjustments in these tires.
Big opportunity there for Trevor Huddleston at least to make his way all the way around the half-mile track and back down pit road. Really hard on his equipment. Opportunity where they can work on that race car to fix it a little bit, and their equipment, as you see the two Mcanally drivers of Deegan and Kraus there. Deegan in the 19, Kraus in the 16, as they will go to work and put new Genoa tires on that race car.
And to add to the Sunrise Ford dilemma with those tires, with that right front, we just saw them put stickers on the right front of both the Sunrise Ford cars. So when they blew those right fronts, they have to get the okay by NASCAR officials that those tires were down and they needed those new tires. So seeing that they just put fresh tires on here, you have to wonder what right front tire went on that car after the initial right front tire went out. So more than likely, they put a practice tire on. So they rejoined the field with a right front tire that more than likely had way more laps than anyone else's right front tire on the field, automatically putting them behind the 8-ball. So these guys with those right front tires being fresh, they are now on the same playing field as the rest of the field, and that'll allow them to really capitalize as we get out there. You see Jagger Jones rejoining the field in 8th there, Huddleston in 9th, 1 lap down. So as they get ready to go green, Huddleston will be the receiver of the lucky dog. That will put him back on the lead lap, which is exactly what he needs there.
That's another opportunity for the Sunrise Fords to really get back in the race here. Not sure as far as equipment-wise how hard they were on it, at least the last little bit before we got the stage break, at least. Luckily for Huddleston, he had a couple cautions where he was able to get the lucky dog, and now with the stage break, he's able to get the lucky dog again for this one. And he'll be able to get back on the lead lap when we go back to green flag racing, as we're checking on the lugs to make sure everything is okay. Tire problems have been the story so far, as Taylor Canfield had some problems, and the two, as we mentioned, the Sunrise Fords machines had some problems.
Interesting to see here on Derek Kraus as well. They've got the hood up on that race car. Checking it out, I saw some adjustments underway there, which is an interesting scene to see. Derek has been dominant thus far in the race, and while you want to maintain that dominance, he's got an obviously well-handling race car. It's so easy to dial out these race cars, trying to perfect them, trying to make them that much better. So you have to wonder what the communication is right now between that team making these adjustments. He's been so good. Why would you try and dial yourself out of an ideal setup? So it'll be interesting to see them refire here, what that team has done to that race car. Maybe they're just maintaining and double checking everything, but the hood's still up on that 16 of Derek Kraus.
As they make their way down, as the stage break is starting to come to an end, fans, don't forget to remember on Halloween night, you can check out another version, an extended version of this race. More camera angles on Halloween night before we take the kids trick-or-treating. on NBCSN. So a tune-in alert on Thursday, October 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. As the break is starting to come to an end, drivers making their way back out onto the speedway as Huddleston now is an opportunity where he can get back onto the lead lap. And as we've always talked about, at least here in the first part, tire problems have been the story. Kraus is pulled away, and you have to think about, for a driver like him, he's able to go, at least you wouldn't think he's been too hard on his equipment based on the way he pulled away in that first part of the race before we had those 2 cautions come out on the racetrack, as he'll make his way back onto the speedway.
Kraus, his second season here in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West, obviously dabbled in the East Series as well. They'll stop the field here on the backstretch, allowing everyone else to rejoin. But Kraus, more than likely in his final season here in the K&N Pro Series, a stepping stone. He's made a handful of NASCAR Gander Outdoor Truck Series starts, including Martinsville, Phoenix. I believe he will be in the field at ISM Raceway as well, behind the wheel of a Bill Mcanally prepared truck. So again, a perfect opportunity for these drivers that are looking to filter their way up a stepping stone to be able to go and turn laps at ISM Raceway in Phoenix, and then in turn get to do it down their career in a truck. This is what this series is built on. And I love the fact that they also still go to these short tracks. I think that is the driving heart of this series, to see them go to places like Meridian Speedway, the Bull Ring, and like All-American Raceway. And, you know, we're expanding next year, joining the name with the ARCA series, getting the ARCA Showdown series involved there, the ARCA East and the ARCA West. So to get that expansion and also be able to merge these 2 series up the car count, get to go to cool places like Toledo and get to go to places like Bristol and continue those. It'll be really exciting to see how that boosts the overall attendance and the car count. It'll be exciting in 2020, to say the least.
And for sure, and going back to, like you mentioned, racetracks like Toledo for these series, and it's always good to see NASCAR reaching out and going to these unique racetrack and facilities, and especially like this one here in Kern County, definitely a different looking racetrack with the banking, and as we talked about in pre-race, the back stretch being higher than the front stretch here. So that's always entertaining to see when we go to these racetracks, as we are close to getting back to going green flag racing here in the first stage break. And it's a 150 lap race, so the halfway point, and right off the get-go there'll be 1 to go, as the top 4 is occupied by Bill Mcanally race cars, as Derek Kraus will take the bottom lane, you would think here. Now there he goes, he'll take the bottom lane. Haley Deegan will be on the outside in that Monster Energy Toyota.
We got some people actually chiming in via social media, getting in on the conversation. As far as the conversation that we talked about those right fronts, people are actually confirming that they are melting beads on these tires. We've talked about the glowing rotors and how hard they've been on the brakes, and that has been attributing to potentially the right front flats that we've seen on both the Sunrise Ford cars. So that's got to be a learning curve for these guys going into this second half. They now know that they have pushed their race cars to the limit. They do not want to have a repeat. If they were able to do it in 35 laps in the beginning stage of this, they don't want to do it in this final 75 as we're back under green.
So green flag back in the air, and nothing new. Derek Kraus takes the lead over Haley Deegan. Those two have really separated themselves already through turns 1 and 2, extending now by at least 3 or 4 car lengths as the battle's back on throughout the field. Zamora will clear Gardner now, and she'll start to pull away almost nearly 3 wide there off of turn number 4, and everything is calm, at least for now. Garner there on the outside, Sousa to the inside, as those two are side by side down the back straightaway, and there he is making his way through the pack is Jagger Jones to the inside now of Travis Milburn. He'll try and clear him off turn number 4, and he will, as Sousa to the inside of Gardner. He'll try and wash up the racetrack now, but Garner using a little momentum around the top. Oh, they get sideways down the back straightaway. A nice save down the back as Garner will hold on to it. Nearly 3 wide, into the inside and make some contact. Now side by side down the front straightaway.
Taking advantage of using the full racetrack there. Jones went all the way to the bottom, down below that white line to get that position there, and he would clear him. Man, Rubbin's racing there, but Todd Sousa looking for a little bit of redemption there. will try and catch him, but loses some ground there. Great run also right behind him by Travis Milburn. He's been in and out of the series since 2008. This is his first full-time season, though, here in the K&N Pro Series West. Awesome to have him running full-time for John Wood there.
Now to the inside, Jagger Jones took a look with Dylan Gardner now holding on. A nice save back there on the back straightaway. Now here comes Jones to the inside. Side by side down the back stretch they go as Jones now takes a look, and he is clear Garner. Now move him up into the top 5. And move him now into the 4th spot is Jones, and he'll pull away from Gardner. And Jagger Jones, don't count him out of this one just yet. One thing he needs is one more caution. He's right back in the thick of things, but as we talked about how it's so difficult to pass here, and especially when you're in the back of the pack on those restarts.
Yeah,
trying to get throughout the field, it's definitely challenging now, especially now this field being all spread out.
Talk about a rebound story there for Jagger Jones, but his teammate Trevor Huddleston still running in that 10th spot. Looks like when we came back from that caution there at the halfway break, they did not put the lucky dog into play. Trevor Huddleston was in that 10th spot and was going to be the recipient, but looks like they didn't put that in play. Trevor Huddleston still scored 10th and 1 lap down there, battling with Zach Telford, who is a few laps down, I do believe, so that fight not for position, but Huddleston in that points chase there. Tough luck for him. He's definitely hoping a caution's going to come out there, but his teammate Jagger Jones, clean and green, been able to put some distance between him and Sousa behind him and Garner behind him as he sets his sights forward. Again, we have to look at the points battle there. It was only a matter of 4 points that separated Hailie Deegan, Trevor Huddleston, and Jagger Jones for that spot. Really, Derek Kraus would have to have something terrible happen to him as far as his finishing position to upset that championship chase for him in Phoenix. So,
especially with every point mattering for those two. Now with Hailie Deegan especially running in the 2nd spot, as she is still not letting Kraus get away too much, but Kraus slowly but surely, small steps pulling away from Deegan here, as Deegan still working that bottom line as she has all race long. Kraus pulling away, and you see Brittany Zamora now in that 3rd spot as things are starting to widen out here a little bit. It's a big facility here on this half-mile racetrack, especially for the K&N West drivers. It's about a second separating Kraus and Hailie Deegan. Kraus, of course, coming into tonight, won the last 3 races here at Kern County Speedway.
And we love having some of our East Coast friends out here hanging out and staying up late with us to watch some good West Coast racing action. We got a shout out a little bit ago from Freddie Kraft, spotter for Bubba Wallace actually in the Cup Series. He actually also hangs out with Derek Kraus on his free weekends and is a spotter for him in his late model down at Speed Weeks for New Smyrna. Any chance he gets that he can double up and hang out with his good old Wisconsin buddy Derek Kraus, Freddie Kraft will take that opportunity to go spot some K&N or some late model racing. So Freddie, thanks for hanging out with us and staying up late with us on the East Coast. We appreciate the love, and looks like your boy Derek Kraus is off to a pretty good start this evening. I mean, I would call that a pretty good start.
I would say it's been a pretty dominant performance. As of course, racing at the NASCAR Monster Energy Cup Series will be at Martinsville Speedway tomorrow. Of course, you can find that at 3 p.m. on NBCSN, and some more battles going out through the field. Trevor Huddleston getting around the 08 of Milburn. So the battle of Sousa and Gardner, and Garner's really the one car, at least on the racetrack, that's not running that bottom lane around the track, working that second groove, trying to really almost work that second groove in a little bit, and he's not surrendering too much. I see Kraus now got around some lap vehicles, and now has really extended his lead now on Hailie Deegan as we're working lap 84.
And Kraus is running actually a similar line if you look at it to Dylan Gardner, and I think that's allowing them to not push their equipment. They're putting those race cars where they want them to go, and they have that luxury with not having much pressure. But Dylan Gardner with a great run so far this evening, and Derek Kraus, you see those brake rotors glowing, and you have to wonder, he is under no pressure So his spotter's got to get in his ear and tell him to lay off those brakes, take a breath. You've got almost a straightaway there, but Dylan Garner, again, Todd Sousa, and Trevor Huddleston unable to get away from each other. But Dylan Garner running the best he has run thus far in his K&N West Pro Series. This is his third start. He actually ran Irwindale at the beginning of the season and finished 9th there, followed by Roseville just a few weeks ago, finishing 12th. So a great run tonight by that 4th Bill Mcanally racing car. Todd Sousa, though, all over the back bumper there, really wants that position, but just unable to get the run on that bottom groove as Dylan Garner carries so much momentum on that high side.
Especially now with Huddleston, and we talked about that points battle that he's in right now, much faster than these two, but the difficult part is now trying to get around him here. It's so hard to pass at this racetrack, but as we're seeing Garner work in the middle there, and you're seeing Sousa work in the bottom, no place to really go for that machine is he's still hanging there behind Sousa. Now the biggest thing is patience, knowing exactly when to really use him up now as we're working on lap 103 at the moment. Laps winding down as those are 2 points right there in front of him.
Well, also, you have to understand that there's probably some communication on the spotter stand happening right now that Trevor Huddleston is a lap down. So when he's battling there with Todd Sousa is on the lead lap while Huddleston is still that lap down car. So there's a little bit of respect there going on that while, yes, Huddleston is in that points lead, he is a lap down. So he's got to be a little bit cautious there, getting too aggressive being that lap down car. But Brittany Zamora put some distance between herself and Jagger Jones. Again, a man on a mission, great rebound, blew a right front early on in the race for that Sunrise Ford car. We talked about it early on in the race. These cars are starting to move up in those grooves. The guys that have the ill-handling cars, though, are still trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack, get below that white line, de-wedge these race cars, and get them to rotate. But anyone that's been able to have a better handling car, they're starting to adapt, move up, and we're seeing this top groove really work in. 44 laps to go, though. With the field really spreading out right now, everyone's kind of hopes of reeling in the leaders are starting to fade.
I get to think about for Derek Kraus, knowing the tire problems that have happened at least in the first half of the race. Now that you have such a big lead, taking care of your equipment as you're seeing now on your screen, as Jagger Jones started to close the margin behind Brittany Zamora. Zamora having a very solid run here today in the 3rd spot. Jagger Jones closing it in lap after lap, and he seems to be the better car, at least on the entry of the corner and at least through on the exit, as he's closing it in lap after lap with 42 laps to go. And alongside Hannah Newhouse, I'm Ford Martin. We're glad to have you here for the Napa Ineos 150 presented by the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame, the NASCAR K&N West Pro Series. Kern County spewing a clear night as again here comes Jagger Jones right on the back bumper of Zamora for the 3rd spot.
Zamora's going to protect that 3rd spot with all she can. That would tie her best finish of the season. She's finished 3rd, I believe, twice this year, both Tucson and her home track of Evergreen. So she'll start to go into protect mode, but Jagger Jones with the preferred line there on the bottom. We'll get to that quarter panel just enough for her spotter to call her inside, and they will go through that corner side by side. Great momentum there by Jagger Jones, able to get cleared and up above Zamora. He will take away that 3rd spot from the back with a flat right front tire and up to 3rd. Jagger Jones is a man on a mission.
Impressive rebound there for the Sunrise Ford. That 6 car, so you can see the rotors now starting to blow and starting to pull away now from Zamora. And like we talked about, a nice rebound by Jagger Jones, of course, winning last week. His first career K&N West win at All-American is now Derek Kraus. Now he has a little bit of a challenge here in front of him, getting around some lap cars. Now they looks like they've all moved single file as he'll get around now. Taylor Canfield, who had a problem earlier in the first half, is now there in front of Derek Kraus. Couple cars getting almost some near contact there in front of him.
Now the 2 cars in front of him of Brad Casau and Travis Milburn, these 2 are racing for position. So the last thing any one of them wants to do is to roll over and give that position up, losing the track position to the person in front of them. But both of them very courteous, giving him that low line, able to get past. Looks like Brad Casau on the bottom there, but Take a look back here again at Hailie Deegan, currently running in that second position. Her sights not even on your leader of Derek Kraus. He has put some serious distance between himself and the second place runner of Hailie Deegan. But again, great season for her thus far. 2 wins coming at the dirt track to start the season off, and also at Colorado National. So she's carried some serious speed. 6 top 5s this season.
If Kraus wins tonight, he'll be just the 3rd driver in K&N West history, dating back to the Pacific Coast late model days, to win 4 consecutive races. As we have one car, Zach Telford goes around. As he got on the apron a little too much, that car swings back around, and the 15-year-old from Middleton, Idaho will bring out the caution flag again.
Able to get those brakes locked up and stopped. Like you said, it looked like he just lost it there on the apron. Got a little bit loose. That team not having the evening they wanted prior to qualifying. They found a bad shock on that race car, had to change that out, and pretty much went into qualifying a little bit blind with what they had on the race car. Didn't qualify quite where they wanted to as Telford rolled off in that 11th position, but not the evening that young gun is looking to have. Again, we talked about his debut at Meridian Speedway just a few weeks back, his home track. Won a few late model races there this season, contended for the Super Late Model Points Championship, and was running second until some super late race contact took him out there, and I believe he finished 8th, I think is what it was. So, or I'm sorry, 9th. So not what that team's looking to do, but I think Zach Telford will be a consistent name in the K&N Pro Series next season. Got a long future ahead of him. I mean, he's got to be 5'1" and 80 pounds soaking wet, and it's always fun. I got to go home and race against him at Meridian Speedway just a few weeks ago in the super late model, and the kid can wheel. I mean, I will give him that 100%. It was a 200 lap race, and he's got a long future ahead of him. So not the night that they are hoping for tonight at Bakersfield, but definitely a future for that young driver.
Also, one driver that missed that accident that happened right in front of her, Hailie Deegan, was one that raced against Telford. They ran the junior late models together at that racetrack. As a caution flag is out for the first time in this second stage, 4th overall. As we were talking before we went to break, will be if Kraus wins again Saturday night, he'll be just the 3rd driver in K&N West history, dating the Pacific Coast West model days, to win 4 consecutive races at one track. The only ones they were able to do at least 4 more were Ray Elder at Ascot Park at 4 and Herschel McGriff at 5 at Portland Speedway.
Those are some pretty
good company for sure.
Those are some pretty stout names, definitely to be a part of. Herschel McGriff actually recently making a start in the K&N Pro Series. It was cool to see, I believe, at Tucson.
It was nice, yeah.
It was at Tucson. His family, a 3rd generation of driving. He's got his granddaughter that races late models out at Tucson as well. I believe she's made some starts in the K&N Pro Series as well. Mariah McGriff. Cool to have that whole family involved. So Derek Kraus, if he does win this, is in some good company here, as you know, we are racing in the West Coast Hall of Fame. So good company to be in by Kraus, especially being so young, and to get to add his name to those record books.
So now coming to the 1 to go, and Hannah, I'll ask you, now Hailie Deegan, at least in the second part of this race last time being on the outside, what more can you do? I mean, there's only so much you can, but with Derek Kraus being so dominant on the bottom, what more can you do if you're Hailie Deegan in this spot?
Derek Kraus obviously gets to choose his starting position, and he chooses that preferred line being the bottom, so Hailie Deegan automatically is on the outs. She doesn't have the preferred line. She's going to be under fire. I would be less worried about contending with Derek Kraus right now for the lead if I was Hailie.
Jagger Jones now back in the 3rd spot.
Jagger Jones was the man on a mission, showed speeds, ran lap times as quick, if not quicker, than Hailie Deegan prior to that caution. So Hailie Deegan's going to be in protect mode from Jagger Jones following Derek Kraus on this restart.
Making their way back in the restart zone. Green flag back in the air here in Kern County, and Hailie Deegan this time will stay with Kraus a little bit. Now she's under fire from Jagger Jones. Side by side down the back straightaway they go. Kraus extending his lead. Now they're wheel to wheel. Deegan will drive it deeper into 3 as they both made near contact. Sliding on each other there a little bit. Deegan leaning on him. making the way through 1 and 2. Deegan giving a higher approach to 1 and 2. Remember those two, and the point standings close, only separated by a couple points. So every position matters, and almost sliding up the track was Jones, and that will allow Haley Deegan to get around. Now he's under fire from Todd Sousa. He'll march his way to the inside.
Todd Sousa taking advantage of Jagger Jones slipping up there. Wasted no time to get to that back bumper there. And we saw it earlier, these two really battling out. Contact was made them, but everyone able to hold on to it. Derek Kraus just absolutely checked out. You have to wonder at the end of this race, 25 laps to go, if he climbs out of this car in victory lane, I'm not even sure he broke a sweat. He has had
it's
no
been
pressure.
Relatively easy tonight for him.
Yes, it has been. And so, in all seriousness, though, this track definitely a tough track to drive. High speed, a lot of G-force through the corner. You still have to execute every single lap. So, regardless, tough track to race here, but Haley Deegan able to close that gap now with that caution, put some distance between her and Jagger Jones.
24 laps to go for Derek Kraus. Trying to go for 4 straight wins at this racetrack, as we're taking a look now at Zamora and Sousa. Sousa now holding on about a half a car length now, so he'll slide up a little bit in the center as Zamora trying to find a way around that Toyota. And she's now starting to tailgate that Toyota along the back stretch and starting to close the margin a little bit with 22 laps to go. As she'll make her way down the inside. Sousa getting a little loose off of 4. Now Zamora, that'll open the door for her. She'll make her way down into the inside through turns 1 and 2. Try and clear them off of 2 and not able to do it. And finally will going down the turn number 3. So nice pass there by Zamora.
Zamora's going to be able to put some distance between her and Todd Sousa.
We do apologize for the technical difficulties. As Zamora now is completing kind of round Todd Sousa there on the back straightaway with 20 laps to go.
Travis Milburn tracking down Zach Telford there. 2 Idaho natives. Travis Milburn and I actually raced go-karts together when we were really young, so it's cool to see Kart Idaho, a new facility out on the outskirts of Boise, Idaho. Able to go out there and race karts. It's a pretty neat facility. It's cool to have that on Travis Milburn's car, but you can see the distance there between leader Derek Kraus and that 16 Bill Mcanally Toyota and second place runner Haley Deegan. Almost a corner's length between the two. Derek now on cruise control with 18 laps to go in tonight's race.
17 laps to go for Kraus, and now we need to take a look at the second place battle as that's starting to heat up a little bit. And as you see now here with Huddleston now on the back bumper of Zamora. Trying to take a look now to the inside. And he'll finally get down to the inside now of Zamora. They're side by side through turns 1 and 2, and he'll finally get around her.
Cleared her with quite a bit of ease, able to get that bottom line there. Slide up in front of her again. Trying to, I believe, get his lap back there as he restarted 1 lap down. Not able to execute and get back on the lead lap as quickly as his teammate Jagger Jones was. You see him there in that 3rd position. He's able to close some distance on Haley Deegan in that 2nd spot, though. Was quite a distance just a handful of laps ago, but he's starting to inch it in. 14 laps to go. And I believe he will catch the back bumper at this rate.
And he's getting closer to Haley Deegan. They were side by side there for a little bit on that last restart. He got a little loose on the bottom. Wasn't able to stick with Haley Deegan. But Deegan extended her margin there on Jones, and now Jones trying to regain that lost ground to try and get that 2nd spot back from Haley Deegan. And we know Jagger Jones has no problem with trying to rough up Haley Deegan a little bit.
Well, that's been a telltale of the entire NASCAR K&N Pro Series West season. Something about the field this season has consisted of a lot of rough racing, a lot of rubbins racing for these guys, and there's been no lack of bump and runs, but it's been exciting. It's been fun to follow. There's been storylines, there's been rivalries all season long, and to watch these young kids pretty much go out there and race for what is their future and their reputation. Sometimes they're put into that position where they have to get those wins, and a lot of these front-running kids have been in that position, and you've seen all of them win now. Everyone that's been involved in those. Derek Kraus has collected wins this season, Haley Deegan, as well as Jagger Jones and Trevor Huddleston collecting 2 wins as well. So, you know, they're not rubbing racing, and they're not battling for 8th place. They're up there contending for these wins each and every weekend, and that goes to show the hard work that both Bill Mcanally Racing continues to put into his cars, as well as Sunrise Ford, being your top 5 runners at the moment.
And something to note here, Haley Deegan now is starting to move up a little bit, and that has allowed Jagger Jones not to close the margin as much as he was originally. Starting to even that out now here in the later part of the race with 9 laps to go. With Kraus now making it 8 to go at the line. So 8 to go here in the Napa Ineos 150 presented by West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame. But still, Jagger Jones closing the margin lap after lap a little bit. Not as much lately after Haley Deegan started to move up a lane around the racetrack. And well, the question is now, can Jones get around him?
Trevor Huddleston, his teammate there, again, he is that lap down, but he's driving the wheels off of this race car. If you watch him come off of the corner, that race car steps out on him, and he's able to still maintain, keep it under control, but he is pushing that race car to the limits right now. He has caught his teammate. He is still that lap down, but he is taking advantage of every opportunity to get potentially that caution, be that lucky dog. We don't want to see a caution here with 6 laps to go, but Trevor Huddleston making sure that he's in that prime position if a caution does fall out here. But man, he is a man on a mission at the moment.
And that's what I was going to ask you here, especially now that he can't pass either one of these two for position. Now he feels like he has to be a little more cautious now, knowing that he doesn't want to mess his teammate up as he's going for Deegan, but he knows at the same time, in case a caution comes out or something, he has to be there to pounce in case they lap another driver and he has to hurry up and get around him.
Yeah, right now he's in the position where the next car that is 1 lap down is quite a ways away. He's not under any pressure of not being that car.
Almost wow, near contact there.
Takuma Koga did not give Derek Kraus, your leader, any room there coming out down the backstretch. A little bit of a close call there, but Kraus able to get in front of him, clear him, and put some space between there. That is not a fun position to be in as your leader, to have a lap car run you all the way up against the wall. But fortunately, no contact was made. Everyone continued to be clean and green. 3 laps to go here, though, at Kern County Raceway Park.
And you just saw there in the back end of that screen there off of turn 2, Haley Deegan now under fire from Jagger Jones, but it's Derek Kraus now 2 to go, and I believe the caution flag is out, and that is not what Derek Kraus wanted to see. As we see now, it's Brad Casso is around from Union Grove, Wisconsin. And what a huge turn of events this has come to be.
He was having a solid night there again. That Jefferson Racing machine, unfortunate break for him. He will restart at the tail end of the field, but you just mentioned there, this is not what Derek Kraus wants to see, a restart with only 2 laps to go. But you have to take into consideration this entire race. He has executed these restarts so well. He only has to do it.
He's cleared him at least to the center of 1 and 2.
Exactly. He only has to do this one more time this evening, and he hasn't had any competition. He hasn't had anyone even get close to him. So the only thing that could potentially go wrong is if one of these drivers gets excessively aggressive. And Trevor Huddleston, there we go, we talked about it. The prime position to be that lucky dog. He will now go behind the pace car here, wait for the wave around, and rejoin the tail of the field on the lead lap. Can he do anything in 2 laps to make up that position? More than likely not. It'll be really tough. He will restart at the complete tail end of the field behind the other lap cars. So that puts him in a position that he'd have a lot of ground to make up in just 2 laps. But Derek Kraus right now, he's got one last chance to execute these restarts like he's done so consistently this evening. But this is also Haley Deegan's opportunity to capitalize on potentially a really good restart. But we're going to see Jagger Jones once again restart on the inside of Haley Deegan here. Jagger Jones has been fast.
He has, yeah. And the biggest thing, at least making the way back down the straightaway and when we have the 2 laps to go going down into turn 3, is there an opportunity before Kraus gets away like he has every single restart so far tonight, where they can maybe rough him up a little bit, send him up the racetrack a little bit, get to the inside, because Kraus hasn't had to face any competition all night long. Remember, you can also catch it again on Halloween night. So fans, don't forget a tune-in alert to check out NBCSN on October 31st at 6 p.m. Eastern for you. Take the kids trick-or-treating, but the question is who will be treated to a big win tonight in the semifinal race before we head off to ISM Raceway. So be sure to check out the replay of tonight's race on NBCSN, 6 p.m.
You have to wonder if that music there is also being played in Derek Kraus's helmet right now.
A
little spooky, eh?
It's definitely going to be a little spooky for Derek Kraus, but if he keeps, yeah, there you go. But if he keeps it up like he has the past restarts, I believe he will be okay. But as we've seen in these K&N races this year, nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, if you do look at the past couple races that we've had, especially coming down to green, white, checkers, the drivers that are at the top 4 right now positioned have been involved in a lot of green, white, checkered shootouts that have resulted in some contact here. So right now is where about everyone loses their minds and, you know, all sanity goes out the window there. So potential for some disaster here, but Derek Kraus has been so strong, he has to do this one more time. His spotter's in his ear telling him to keep his cool, keep his calm, and do the exact same thing he's done this entire time. As for Hailie Deegan and Jagger Jones, their spotters are doing the opposite. They're telling him to take advantage of this opportunity, and Jagger Jones' spotter is telling him, do not lose that 16th bumper, because if he can stay on it, he's going to have the preferred line over Hailie Deegan for that second spot.
So it will be 2 laps of racing to go. Kraus in the bottom, Deegan on the outside, green flag back in the air. 2 laps to go here in the semifinal race, and Kraus will clear him going into 1 and 2. Again, Jones leaning on Deegan. They're side by side. Kraus starting to pull away. Jones to the inside. He'll get around Hailie Deegan for the crossover. Here comes Deegan to the bottom. Remember, those two have had a history here, especially last week. Deegan out of the bottom. White flag in the air for Derek Kraus. Trying to make it 4 in a row. Sideways back out through the field. Side by side again through 3 and 4. Deegan on the bottom, Jones on the top. But it's Derek Kraus off of 4. He makes it 4 in a row and wins at Kern County Raceway.
Jagger Jones able to carry some great momentum there on that last lap on the outside around Hailie Deegan to collect that second spot. Hailie coming home 3rd, and Brittany Zamora in 4th. Todd Sousa rounds out your top 5, but absolute dominating race there by Derek Kraus. No one was in his league there. He led every single lap there. I feel like he didn't even break a sweat, but what a way to go into the championship race at ISM Raceway in just a few weeks, collecting his 5th win of the season and his 4th one here at Kern County Raceway Park. Sweeps the night, qualifies on the pole, leads every lap, and wins the race.
First time we see now Jones now on the bottom. Hailie Deegan was there. Not sure exactly if they had a...
Stop it on the front stretch for some interviews.
For some interviews, yeah, you can say that. So those two will make their way back around. Jones was able to get around and finish 2nd, Hailie Deegan 3rd, but the dominating performance by Kraus all race long. First time that we mentioned he had the pole here, and not just the pole, he led every single lap, and now he'll get the checkered flag.
He's gonna go for that Polish victory lap there, being a Wisconsin native, going for, we've seen, you know, drivers like Alan Kulwicki do that as well. I know he's close with a lot of those Wisconsin-rooted drivers there, but take a look at your finish there. Derek Kraus collecting that win over Jagger Jones and Hailie Deegan. That'll allow that points to really tighten up going into ISM Raceway between Jones and Deegan. Another great finish by the youngster of Brittany Zamora in her rookie season, and Todd Sousa, another strong finish in 5th.
The first thing that Kraus said on his radio coming across the line is, "You guys are amazing." And it's not just Kraus driving tonight, it's that crew from Bill Mcanally Racing setting that car up to be strong all night long, and that's exactly what they have done tonight. So Kraus, his 5th win of the season, making his way back to victory lane, carrying that Sunoco checkered flag, and just what a dominating performance by him all race long, especially on the restarts. He pulled away, And with a spin with 2 laps to go, he may have broken a sweat, getting a little nervous, not sure exactly what could happen, but he pulled away down the straightaway, cleared him as he did every restart all night long, pulled away, and he'll earn another victory here tonight.
He hangs out there in victory lane and waits to get the okay. His whole Bill Mcanally racing team will join him in victory lane. You see Jagger Jones there climbing out of his car, your second place finisher. You know he's got to be a little bit upset maybe, as he wanted that win. It was so close and in his grasp in that final restart, but I guarantee you he'll sit down once he gets home and look at the whole scenario with that blown right front tire, able to rebound. You saw Deegan over there having some conversation with Jagger Jones, so he's got to be able to look at the big picture here and see what a phenomenal night that team ended up putting together.
Of course, frustrating there for Haley Deegan there, mostly running second in the race and coming away with a 3rd spot here tonight. Of course, Jagger Jones winning last week, was trying to make it 2 in a row, was unable to do that, but Derek Kraus, what a dominating performance all night long, and pulling away his 5th win of the year, 4th win at this racetrack. And you got to ask now before long, especially now that Derek Kraus moving up in the ranks of NASCAR, if they're going to at least honor him at some point, knowing that this is Derek Kraus Raceway, I guess you could say in a way.
It really has. He's put a staple on this racetrack. Very few racers we've seen come here and put together a record book and a resume like he has, especially in the K&N Pro Series. So hats off especially to Derek to be able to walk away from this season having had that many wins at this specific racetrack. Every driver has that track that they click with, but not very many can execute to the level that he has. So to be able to show up and know that he is the man to beat has got to put some confidence in his step, especially as we get ready to crown a champion in just a few weeks out November 9th at ISM Raceway. You see your winner Derek Kraus there climbing out of the car, hugs to his entire crew.
Of course, you can catch the interview on Halloween as Heather DeBow from NBCSN talking with your race winner. And of course, one more race for the NASCAR K&N West Pro Series. They'll head off to ISM Raceway next here in a couple weeks. Also, remember you can check that in on October 31st, Halloween night at 6 p.m. on NBCSN. But as I mentioned, the championship race, Derek Kraus trying to lock up his first career championship.
Looking forward to crowning that champion again. MRN Radio on the call on fanschoice.tv. It's been an honor to have you guys join us here from Kern County Raceway Park in Bakersfield for the Napa Auto Parts and Enos 150 presented by the West Coast Stock Car Hall of Fame at Kern County Raceway Park. I'm Hannah Newhouse. It's been Ford Martin as well with me here in the booth on the call. And Ford, what a great race it was tonight to see Derek Kraus get that win. Yeah, definitely a big win for him tonight, trying to secure his first career K&N West championship, and believe he's on his way to do just that. But all around great race tonight. We had some tire problems, of course, through the field. A late caution that got a little fun, but still, what a win it was for Derek Kraus and that Bill Mcanally team. Very, very strong for him. And it sets us up for a great finale in just a few weeks. We look forward to seeing you guys there, and we look forward to calling you guys here. Again, thanks for joining us here on fanschoice.tv, and have a good evening.